So we know that they will play the winner of the AFC South. So it's still three teams. It's the Jaguars, Texans, Colts. When you look at those, who do you think is the toughest matchup for the Browns of the three of them?
Man, that's an interesting question. I guess I would say that Houston's probably the toughest matchup because I think they have the best quarterback right now, right? Of course, CJ Stroud, the way that he's been playing all season has been phenomenal. I mean, not only is he getting Rookie of the Year votes, but some people talked about him as MVP with this team. A lot of people said, okay, 4 or 5 wins this season, maybe for the Houston Texans. And here they are last week of the year competing for a playoff spot and a division title. So that's incredible. But, when you look at CJ Stroud, if you pressure him, which the Browns can certainly do as a very aggressive defense, the passing grade goes down a lot further. So Stroud has played well at times under pressure, but he is still a rookie, and this will still be his first time in the playoffs if he gets to this point. So I think that overall the potency of what we have seen from a CJ Stroud, Bobby Slovic offense, and also what we have seen from a D'Amico Ryans defense with the Texans, they give the highest ceiling, if you ask me, realistic for where we are in the season. So I would say that they would be the toughest team for Cleveland if they end up getting that draw.
Now, if Jacksonville wins, they win the South. So let's talk a little bit about the Jaguars. Their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, has practiced. He's trending to play, but that's a guy with head, shoulder, knees, and toe. He's got the AC shoulder. He had the calf, and he's just beat up at this point in time.
Yeah, and not only is he beat up, like the team's just not playing well. When you look at the last 6 weeks that this team has played, 4 of their lowest graded games that they have played all season have come within those last 6 games. They're not trending in the right direction, Trevor Lawrence or not. I watched that Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Jacksonville Jaguars game not too long ago, and I mean, that Jags team looked like a shell of themselves. They looked like they were just like sleepwalking out there. And that's what worries me so much with this Jags team. It's not that they can't be good. They have good players. Trevor Lawrence is playing. He's a good quarterback. Love Travis Etienne as a dual threat kind of a player out of the backfield. Certainly an electric player when he has the ball in his hands as a runner. I think the wide receivers are fine enough. I think the defense can play well. But that's just the thing. They don't always. The Jags, to me, are the most high-variance team in the NFL. And when you get to the playoffs, that's just not good. That's not the tag that you want to have. So it's a team that can play good one week, but can also be catastrophic the next and look like they don't belong in a playoff format. So it's just such a Jekyll and Hyde with that team right now. I can tell you the things that they do well, but I can also tell you the things that they don't, and you just don't know which Jags team you're going to get. That's why I do have them behind the Texans as, what's the toughest potential matchup for Cleveland? I would say the Texans would be ahead of the Jaguars.
Last one that we'll talk about, the Colts. It's another team that could end up winning that division. Gardner Minshew has played pretty well. You know what? Jonathan Taylor's healthy now, and that's a whole different set of problems.
Yeah. No, I think the Colts are a really solid team, and I think their biggest asset is honestly their head coach, Shane Steichen. I just have loved what he has done this season, whether it's been with Gardner Minshew for most of the year or even what we saw from Anthony Richardson at the beginning of the year. Getting the most out of these guys' strengths, putting them in comfortable situations, right? We talked about this with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. It's the same way I feel on the offensive side of the ball with the Indianapolis Colts. And so maybe not an imposing offense overall with Gardner at quarterback, but the offensive line's playing well. They've got a diverse set of receivers to throw to. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor's back, and he is playing really well. On the defensive side of things, what worries me about the Colts is the youth and the inexperience of their secondary, particularly their cornerbacks. That is what worries me because when you play in the playoffs, it's a different set of emotions. And those guys have struggled just from being rookie corners already, young corners, rookie corners already. And when you throw a playoff multiplier in there, that's something that concerns me, especially with a veteran quarterback like Flacco, who would not be afraid to take advantage of some of their hesitancy or mistakes. So that's the way that I view the Colts. Shane Steichen always intrigues me, but I don't know if that secondary is experienced enough to really make enough noise in the playoffs this year.